Even in a down year for free agents, the NBA offseason has already lived up to the hype. With plenty of balls still up in the air, not to mention LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo still evaluating the Lakers and Bucks, we're just getting started on what could be a wild summer in the association. For now, let's look at a few teams who've already made their mark. The most improved team of the offseason has to be the Rockets. As we covered on last week's episode, Houston addressed its biggest need, half-court scoring, by landing Kevin Durant without giving up any of its best young players or assets.
I'm Kevin Durant. You know who I am.
Then the Rockets landed one of the free agent market's top 3-and-D players in Dorian Finney-Smith. Given their already crowded frontcourt and what Clint Capella is at this stage of his career, the Rockets probably overpaid the veteran center, but it doesn't matter. Houston should be an elite two-way team with a ton of lineup versatility. This is absolutely a championship contender. Nipping on the Rockets' heels for the title of most improved and second best in the West are the Nuggets. The 2023 champs needed to add depth and shooting, which wasn't going to be easy given how pot-committed Denver already was. Well, kudos to the Nuggets' new front office, because they somehow addressed those needs while adding flexibility. That was thanks to a brilliant move that saw Denver turn Michael Porter Jr. and a 2032 first-rounder into Cam Johnson. Essentially, the Nuggets turned MPJ into an equally valuable shooter and a better overall player who makes half as much money, creating the wiggle room needed to add that aforementioned depth. The Nuggets then turned little-used Dario Saric into Jonas Valanciunas, who immediately becomes the best backup center Denver has employed in the Jokic era. Worst case, JV heads back to Europe and the Nuggets get access to their full mid-level exception. They also signed Bruce Brown and Tim Hardaway Jr. to minimum contracts. The Joker just dragged a depleted and much weaker Nuggets team to a Game 7 against the eventual champions. Now he's got more than enough to win it all again. Out east, we've already touched on why giving up all those picks for Desmond Bane was a worthwhile gamble for the Magic. But don't sleep on their acquisition of Tyus Jones. Orlando needed a pure point guard behind Jalen Suggs who can also share the backcourt with either Suggs or Bane, and that's exactly what they're getting in Jones. The veteran's size limits him defensively, but he's joining an elite defensive team that can use his combination of shooting and playmaking. Remember, Orlando hasn't finished higher than 22nd in offensive efficiency since 2012, and just finished last in three-point shooting. Jones has shot 41.4% from deep in each of the last two seasons and owns a career assist-to-turnover ratio of 5.4 to 1.
I wasn't really familiar with your game.
Another East play-in team that moved closer to contention was Atlanta. The Hawks have quietly been building a better defensive infrastructure around Trae Young for a while, but they've really impressed me so far this summer. First, the Hawks capitalized on New Orleans' reckless obsession with Derek Queen, acquiring an unprotected 2026 first-rounder from either the Pelicans or Bucks, which could be a top-tier pick in a loaded draft class. Then the Hawks got to work on their current roster, replacing Capella and other bit pieces with two-way guard Nickeil Alexander-Walker, sharpshooter Luke Kennard, and Kristaps Porzingis, who was an excellent buy low candidate. The Hawks managed to pull off the tough task of simultaneously improving in the short and long term. Finally, the Bucks are what we'll call our what the team of the offseason. It's possible that landing Miles Turner goes down as the latest example of GM John Horst pulling a rabbit out of his hat to secure a Giannis Antetokounmpo commitment when it looked like Milwaukee was out of bullets. It's also quite possible this stunning sequence of moves blows up in their faces. To make room for Turner's new contract, the Bucks had to waive and stretch Damian Lillard, meaning an already cap-strapped and asset-starved team will be burning $22.5 million of cap space per year for the next 5 years on a player they no longer employ. So acquiring Turner essentially cost $50 million per year.
This whole thing just has disaster written all over it.
If it keeps the Greek freak in Milwaukee and gives the Bucks a chance in the weak East, it's worth it. But imagine how hopeless this situation will be if Giannis still decides to bolt. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video and want to see more content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button.